Buongiorno, vi ringraziamo per essersi connessi al nostro evento di oggi. Vi ricordo che il webinar è registrato e che tutti i partecipanti sono silenziati. Per qualunque informazione vi preghiamo di alzare la mano e il moderatore vi contatterà privatamente. Attendiamo ancora qualche minuto e poi cominciamo. Grazie. Buongiorno, vi ringraziamo per esservi connessi al webinar. Vi ricordo che il webinar è registrato, che tutti i partecipanti sono silenziati e che per qualunque informazione potete alzare la mano e il moderatore vi contatterà privatamente. Passo la parola al mio collega, l'ingegner Ferrentino, che vi presenterà il webinar di oggi. Grazie e buona giornata.
Grazie Valentina, buongiorno a tutti. Hello to everyone. I want to start to say thanks to the customers that are taking part to our webinar, and a special thanks to my colleagues Sebastian that will give to us better details about big data management and relate Kistler solutions. My name is Enrico Ferrentino and I'm the sales engineer in Italy for the products dedicated to engine research and development, the whole powertrain, and also for the solutions dedicated to marine and stationary application. As an hour managed company, we combine independence with business success. Kistler is the global market leader in dynamic measurement technology with know-how at our fingertips in a multitude of industries and applications, ranging from space and competitive sports to joining technology. Our claim, measure, analyze, innovate, captures our whole approach in 3 words. To measure means to understand. Raw data is transformed into valuable information about what can be improved in each individual process, and now the key that opens the door to innovation for our customer. The electrification of the automobile is in full swing, and powertrains too are now evolving towards fully electrical operation. Test stands for electric motors, measurement and assembly technology for battery production, and integrated turnkey manufacturing lines for modular, intelligent production of vehicle components. In all of these ways and more, the Kistler Group already plays a major part in the ongoing development of the automobile, and the trend is upwards. Sooner or later, vehicles that travel from place to place without human involvement will become a reality. Kistler is continuing to develop diverse measurement applications for this area so that we can work with manufacturers as a dedicated partner, ensuring that their vehicles remain reliable as the transformation proceeds. With its process monitoring and control system, the Kistler Group is a hands-on participant in the digital transformation of the industry. Dynamic measurement technology delivers valuable data to optimize manufacturing process so that production becomes more efficient and more individual. The vision is clear: one continuous value chain from sensor to cloud, conserving resources and cutting emissions. So processes can be optimally designed and adjusted for better results with less effort and expense. Resources are being used for more efficiently thanks to solutions like Kistler for engine and generators in component joining processes, welding, and many other assembly operations. At the world market leader in piezoelectric measurement technology, we support our customers in industry and research around the globe. With our 4 tech center, we bundle service competence in the heart of our core markets. Around 2,000 employees at over 60 locations worldwide are dedicated to developing new solutions and offering application-specific service on site. As a provider of integrated solution, Kistler combines development, production, sales, and service for many products under one roof. The value chain covers all steps from sensor, electronics, and software development to design and prototype construction, installation and commissioning, employee training, and other services. This ensures innovation and top performance on all sides. As a dedicated partner for many industrial sectors, such as automobile production, electronics, and medical technology, we frequently operate in niches that are constantly evolving. This is why we opt for a scalable organization structure that enables us to respond rapidly to new requirements from customers. As a pioneer of piezoelectric measurement technology, we've garnered more than 6 decades of application experience in countless industrial sectors. Over the last 20 years, we have evolved from a product supplier into a provider of systems and solutions. We have 3 different divisions for group of application: ART, Automotive Research and Test; EPC, Industrial Process Control; ST, Sensor Technology. As a partner of the automotive industry, we are playing our part in an evolutionary process that will accomplish 2 quantum leaps within 1 generation: electromobility and autonomous driving. The Kistler Group supports its customers as they turn these concepts into reality. Combustion engines are still integral components of mobility, as they always have been. Kistler now deploys optical combustion analysis to drive data optimization ahead. However, this change also requires more complex analytical processes, which in turn quickly generate huge quantities of data. Efficient, targeted handling of this measurement data is thus emerging as a critical challenge. So Kistler sees appropriate data management software as a fixed link in the measurement chain. There is no doubt that digitalization and interconnection are the dominant megatrend for industry in the 21st century. Our sensor laid the foundation for Industry 4.0 by delivering data that makes processes transparent, thus opening the way to optimization. Our solution captures critical production parameters such as force, pressure, torque, and acceleration. Then they measure the resultant product quality with optical measurement technology playing a major part. But measurement is only part of what we do. We also evaluate and assess. This is how raw data is transformed into valuable information. Finally, the results are feedback into the process. The benefit: improved plant efficiency, enhanced quality, and conservation of resources. Kistler would be Kistler if we were not constantly developing new technology and application. Our portfolio of measurement solutions based on piezoelectric sensor is now vast and diverse, ranging from weight in motion and thermoacoustic to biomechanics and much more besides. Sensors from Kistler often enable researchers and developers to advance to the frontiers of physics. Our measurement technology supplies data that allows users to decide immediately whether or not something is working, which means that our test and measurement business field covers virtually everything. No matter how harsh the condition, Kistler solution deliver dependable results in the aviation industry, on the high seas, or even in space. This is the end of my introduction, and I leave the guide of the rest of the presentation to my colleague, Sebastian.
Thank you very much, Enrico. So welcome everybody. I will now share my screen. So, okay. Just a very short introduction of myself. My name is Sebastian Keimer. I studied vehicle engineering and information technology a lot of years ago, and at the Kistler company, I am responsible for the business development for the big test data. On the right side, you see some of our products, and I will now directly step into an introduction and a shared problem, simplified problem definition. A problem or an issue we think every automobile manufacturer has and everybody who is generating data. So with the increasing complexity of our customer products, just think about the newest cars, the amount of necessary tests and validation increases. And this increases the amount of measured data. So more data, more tests, more data. The collected data must be made usable in some form. And this is the general approach of this webinar. What are the requirements we have and how we solve these requirements and problems? Shortly, the agenda, the introduction, we have a short history of measurement data, and then the two big parts are the core challenges and the secondary challenges. Start small, rise up. This is something we think is interesting for you all, what our principles are and the USPs and benefits, and a very short product introduction. But the main part is the core challenges and the secondary challenges. At the end, for sure, we will have some question and answers. So let's go to the introduction. What we think about data is, if we think on the special part of measurement data, we want to give you an easy, uniform access to all generated data and the tools to extract value from it, independent of source, format, or data type. I come later deeply on especially these points. And yeah, we have 25 years plus experience in measurement data solutions now, with some really, for Kistler, new parts. And let's go to the history of measurement data, just to have a start in, to see where do we come from, where we all come from. The 1980s, the data volume was really low. The development departments in the automotive industries had manageable sizes, but the first large microcontroller structures are implemented into cars, into vehicles, into trucks. Just think about engine control units in the 1980s, like from Bosch, the D&E Jetronic, which were the first with some microcontroller structures. Then up to the 90s, the CAN bus systems and some other network systems like LIN were coming up, used in more and more cars. The data volumes are increasing rapidly, especially in the R&D part. Development departments are becoming much larger, especially due to the electronic development. And then you remember the 2000s and 2010s, we have highly interconnected systems in the cars. So there are a lot of different ECUs speaking to each other, and telematics systems are becoming one of the most complex systems in the vehicles from the beginning of the 2000s on. And for sure, in the research and development part, the data volumes become that big that they are not really manageable for humans anymore. 2020, this is what we have today. We have the so-called weak AI in comparison to the strong AI. We have some weak AI. Assistance systems are becoming more and more widespread. And for sure, the data volumes are growing due to that. All the customers have to do such more tests, especially to the assistance systems. It's absolutely a no-brainer that you can manage all this data centrally, just on one location for a global company. And data security and data quality gets more and more important. The future, what we will have in 2020 plus, we are speaking about strong AI. That means AI has to make moral choices directly on the street, in a car. If there's a situation, what the car is doing by himself or itself. and this choices has to be moral. And this is why we speak about strong AI, at least. We will have highly complex new drivetrains. We will have vehicle-to-vehicle communication. We will have vehicle-to-X communication. All this stuff, and all this stuff is generating so much data nobody can ever handle by hand. And this is why we are coming up to the core challenges. What we think the main core challenges are two main parts. This is data organization, and this is evaluation and validation. Data organization means here how we organize all this data, how we can find again the right data sets to work with, evaluation and validation, how we can evaluate our measurements and how we can gain insights and value from it. These are the two core challenges we want to speak about today. And what can be the solutions and what are the solutions we have for that? Just to understand what we always call a measurement chain is we have on the left side the, let's call it, old world, the data acquisition. We have a sensor or a lot of sensors, we have a data logging, we have simulation software, and the output is always measurement data. But what to do with this measurement data? This is what we see on the right side. What is a new part? We have data storage and retrieval. This is the data management part. And on the right side, we have the data analytics part for analysis and visualization. You see now here two logos, what might be new for you. And this is directly the introduction very shortly into our products, main products. We have the data management, we have the analytics, and we have distributed calculation. I will come later into more deep on that. And if you remember 2 slides ago, we have the questions, the core challenges about data organization. There we have the data management and the part of evaluation and validation. And this is where we have the data analytics and distributed calculation. And if you take a short look to our whole portfolio we have at Kistler, we have 3 main parts. We have on the left side, the web-based data management with the products Madam and Madam Connect. We have on the upper right side, the analysis and visualization, which is done by JBeam and JBeam Cluster. And down below, we have local administrations for small teams with the so-called Data Ranger. We want to concentrate today more on the upper left and upper right part. And the first core challenge I mentioned was the data organization. What do we do with that? There are 4 main values, main parts we like to speak about. Key values extracted by statistical calculation during importing. We have an original file storage. We have easy access to your data, like a Google-like search. We have validation of your data, which guarantees the consistency of your data. And the evaluation and validation. With JBeam, we have graphical visualization, a lot of calculation tools, importing components, unifying data structures. I come later to that. What does it mean? And template generation for easy evaluation and report generation. We will come to all these points in some minutes. Secondary challenges, data types, how to handle different data types from various sensors and simulations. We have the data volume, how to handle the growing data volume, and the locations. Locations means all your locations around the world, how to handle data from different locations and different data centers. We will start with the data types. We have how to handle different data types. JBeam, for example, supports over 100 different measurement file formats. And the MADAM system, which is a measurement data management system, has full support of all these formats from the JBeam use. Combination JBeam and MADAM allow easy and unified storage of data types. And data volume, how to handle the growing data volume. Scalability is solution of key. What does it mean? We don't want to have everything in one single data center. We want to have it spread around the world. We want that the system is able to grow, that you can scale horizontal. And this is what the system, the overall system can do for you. We have some special parts, the so-called MDFS and cluster. MDFS stands for Measurement Distributed File System, where you can use distribution of files, and the cluster system to use computation power all over the world. Locations, how to handle data from different locations and data centers. With our systems, you can have a so-called global distributed data management. That means you don't have to have everything at one place. You can have different data centers, and they are all interconnected. They can work together. You can deploy it on each site in your company. And the so-called Madam Connect is the tool what connects all your data centers. Start small, rise up. What does it mean? For example, you start at one location, here, for example, in Italy, with a so-called JBeam. This is a data evaluation software. You start with one department with just some licenses. People are starting to work with it, and after a while, and more people are working with it, you can add a so-called Madam Data Management System to your location. That means several departments have the ability to access to this data by one single access point, and these two tools are highly interconnected, so they can work with each other. And think about then maybe some other colleagues from Spain or Sweden or from some test track there will connect to this as well. You can rise up. You don't have to buy one solution at once, just one after another. And maybe in future you need some scalability on computation power. You can add a JBeam cluster system where you have the ability to scale your computation power. And then maybe colleagues from the US or China are also connecting to this. Maybe you don't have at the moment too many people in China and the US to connect to this. It's no problem to work with this one measurement data system. This is at that moment still a centralized solution. But maybe later you want to add a decentralized structure. That's absolutely no problem. We just add it to it. And then you can have an all over the world solution where you can, where all can work together. This is our idea of having. Just a moment. I have one technical issue here. Just a moment, please. Just a moment, please. So hopefully you all can see the so-called USPs. Let's go a little bit to the technical stuff. Things we like to introduce to you, things where we can really generate value for you. One thing is the so-called andcom. Andcom is an communication protocol between the system. You remember maybe the picture of having the data acquisition, the data management, and the data validation and data analytics. This communication protocol works between the Madam data management system and the JBeam evaluation system. Think about you are located in Japan and the data is stored in Europe, and you want to have you want to analyze a measurement file which has 5 GB. You don't want to download the full file because you're only interested in 10 or 20 different signals from out of 1,500 signals. So you don't want to download the full of it. What can you do here? This andcom protocol brings you into the position just to get from the data management system in Europe to Japan just some first information, like what is the file, what is the metadata in the file, what is the names of all channels and the description of all channels. This is just from the 5 GB file, just some megabyte. It is transferred to you in some minutes, in some seconds, and not minutes or hours, no problem. And then you have it in your data validation tool, JBeam. And then you can see, okay, these 10 or 20 signals are interesting for me. And then you just click them, and the data management system in Europe is calculating for you just these signals, process it, and send it to you in Japan. That means you don't have to download this 5 GB file with all these channels. You just get those channels you are interested in. And this is where you save time and money, because you don't have to transfer all this stuff. And all the people all over the world can work with this. The MDFS, the data file system, especially for measurement data made, because measurement data has always a structure. It has always, you don't have to set it into a context. It has a context. For example, you were on a test track. The context is the test track, the weather on the test track, and so on. You don't have to set it into a context. In comparison, for example, for so-called business intelligence, where you have finance data or data from the financial industry, from online sales and so on. There you have to use different technologies. You need technologies like, for example, Hadoop, HDFS, Parquet. Within measurement data, you don't need that because it is in a context. You don't have to process your measurement data in a different file format. You can use it in the original file storage concept. This is the fourth point here and directly connected to this MDFS. The MDFS is this distributed file system where you can distribute all your files automatically in this system in a scalable way, but your original files are not processed. They are not changed to something else. They are still the original files. We think, especially the automotive industry, is very interested to keep the original measurement files. And modular data structure. Very often, some of our competitors say, okay, you, dear customer, you have to change your data model to our data model because it is due to technology, we have a fixed data model and all your data has to be in that way that we can process it. Not at our side. We have a full modular data model. It is that flexible that the customer can tailor it by himself to his needs, and you can change it all the time. If you have new needs, no problem. You can just go into the settings and change the data model you need. It can be tailored all the time to you. What I said before was the importer and data unification. What does it mean? You have, for example, 3 different data file formats from 3 different data acquisition systems. You have, for example, the MDF file format. You have some CSV file formats, and you have some Excel. How to work with it? Here you have the possibility to import all these different file formats, and the system is taking care about that all these file formats can work into with each other. That you have one data unification, you have a kind of a data bus where everything is synchronized, all the different sources and formats can work to each other. So you don't have to have for example, all the data loggers from one supplier. You can use a lot of different, bring it into one system, and the system, you can work on this system with all of them together. The benefits of our products are from the technical point of view. I spoke about the cluster ability. That means you can buy a lot of cheap servers or virtual machines, and you can bring your calculation to that, your algorithms. And not everything is just calculated on one machine. All the stuff is calculated on different machines. What brings you into the situation, if you need really very fast data calculation power, you can do it with this. You don't have to do it just on one machine or just on one desktop station. The global decentral data mesh I explained. What is very important for us and what is our philosophy is open interfaces and be open for integration in existing tool chains. We think our customers have a tool chain. The customers have a landscape of different tools. We cannot start on a green field. So all the software is has an architecture which is very open. You have open interfaces and you can integrate it into different landscapes. And this is also what our colleagues are doing at every customer. Integrate our solutions into an existing landscape that they can work with different other products. For example, you have metadata databases in your company. You can access to it. They can work together. You don't have to buy everything by scratch. Also, the integration of future technologies is very important. Machine learning, AI, we have added, for example, Python and TensorFlow to have first steps for machine learning. And we have also some joint ventures, for example, with the company Monolith AI from Great Britain, who are very strong in the area of artificial intelligence. Our systems can work together, connected, and we can offer you there a lot of different interesting solutions. The so-called template usage. What means template usage? Not to going too much into details, but very often in the R&D business, you have things, reports, calculations, tests, which are always be done every week, every 2 weeks, whatever. And you don't want to do a report always from scratch. You have the same reports very often to be done, but with different data. In our solution, you have the possibility to use so-called templates. That means you're doing one report with all the calculations in the background, all the math, just one time. And afterwards, if you have new data, you just put in the new data from the next week, and the report is automatically done. And you can directly print it out as a PDF document, or what is much more interesting from my personal point of view is if you have connected also a data management system. The data management system is so much highly integrated with the analytics that you just define one time, okay, I have this and this and this and this templates. And every week on a Friday afternoon, 5 o'clock, the system is starting an automatic script, which is fetching the templates and the new data, generating the reports fully automatically without any work from your side, and send it out directly to those emails who are the stakeholders for this report. Or you can directly load it up into the data management system. This is what really a value is. You don't have to do this always by hand. The system is doing the work for you. You just have to do it once. This is the last point, proactive automation for reporting. You can do that. General points, benefits, single point of access. What does it mean? With the data management system is fully web-based. That means you just open a browser and you have a full overview and a search engine to get all your data again. You can type in just some search queries like, I want to have all the measurement data from that car or from that department, from that test track in that amount of time. You're getting back all your test data, and you can do with this test data whatever you want. You can go into our data analytics systems, or you can put it directly into some party tools if you want. That's just up to you. We want to be open there. And additionally, you can have powerful searches on these single point of access. Like you only want to have all the measurement data where, for example, a special oil temperature and a special water temperature was over a special threshold, to find problems, to find those measurement data where you think problems are in, or you want to have a deep insight. Just do it about that. And the optionality about start small, rise over time, I talked about that. You don't have to buy at the beginning everything. Just start small and then rise up, no problem. Third-party integration, I also talked a little bit about that. What means third-party integration? Like you have your own stuff in your own company, some homegrown solutions, like very often we have metadata databases integrated, but also there are a lot of other suppliers with data loggers, with data analytics, whatever. We can implement that. We can integrate it. Efficient deployment is also, we are not doing this the first time. Our colleagues from the ITs, from the programming parts, they have very efficient deployment strategies to start at your site very fast. And for sure, we are working on the technical edge. We have the technologies of today and the future. Again, I want to show very shortly the so-called measurement chain. You remember the data acquisition part on the left side, and maybe only the data analytics. Why is now the data management missing here? It is due to if you have just a department, and this department has to use or needs a new data analytics systems. Maybe for a small department with 10 people, maybe you don't need a data management system. So why not? I mean, start with that. On the existing part, on the left side, your data acquisition part, and just on the right side, the data analytics part. But you can add later data management in between. The product JBeam I talked about is supporting more than 100 different file formats, and we have far more than 100 different calculation filters and extensible custom applications. This is also a very interesting point. You don't have to call us if you need a new calculation, if you need a new filter, if you have maybe a special algorithm from yourself. You can add it by yourself if you want. There are implemented scripts like Python. You can work with Python. We have MATLAB wrappers, which brings you into the position just to use your existing MATLAB files within this tool. You can use Groovy as a very similar to Java scripting language, and for sure you can use plain Java in that. There's also one very interesting thing. Think about you have very, very special algorithms, which is your personal intellectual property. You want to give these algorithms to another company to implement it into this tool. And this is important. You can do it by yourself. No problem. Drag and drop visualization, evaluation for measurements. The whole product, as you see in the background, is very high dedicated to a graphical user interface. You just select the channel you want to drag and drop it over onto the right side, and you see the channel and you can work with it. You don't have to program every time. It is just to be used by drag and drop and graphical user interfaces. And this graphical user interface can be highly customized. Also, you don't have to use complicated stuff to bring new measurement files into your data analytics tool. Just drag and drop them from a Windows Explorer into the system somewhere on your screen, and it's imported, no problem. So to sum it up, if we speak about data analytics, JBeam, we have the point of templating. That means you generate a template for your calculations and maybe having afterwards an automatic reporting out of it. The data normalization, the data unification, you put in data from a lot of different data formats, from a lot of different data loggers, and all this data can be calculated with each other. And also, just one example, you can have data unit mapping and channel name mapping. That means from the one logger, you have a channel for revolution, engine revolution, and it is called RPM. And from another data logger, you have the same channel, but with a different name. Then you have the possibility to map it to each other. The system then knows both channels are representing the same stuff, but you don't have to rename all of your stuff in your data loggers. Just let them where they are. The same to the units. For example, you get from the US things in inch or the torque in LBSFT, and from Europe in Newton meters and stuff in millimeters. No problem. The system can deal with each other. You don't have to take care about it. Visualization, as I said, I think that's explained. Very simple calculation, a lot of different calculation stuff. And as I said, if you want to have more, you want to have much more data, more and more data, you cannot handle it anymore. Go to the data management part and implement as well these, for example, our data management system into it. You see on the right side how the browser represent that system, the single point of access where everybody who has access can access on, can search for data via a data browser, so you can also use it from a mobile phone. It is highly flexible, can be tailored to each customer. But what means tailored? Very often the people then think, okay, they are programming it especially for us, and then we will have a lot of problems. No, the system itself is so much flexible that just by changing settings, it can be tailored to you. It's still the same system. It's just tailored by settings. The unification of different data types and data sources is the same in the data management solution. So it works from the core with the same algorithms like the data analytics is doing. So if you have in the data analytics a new importer for a new data format, for sure you will have it also in the data management. And it's easily extensible into complex workflows. Yeah. Here we have one, as I said it for JBeam, we have the same for Madam. The main part is validation, analysis, and reporting. Validation means you can have the so-called templates from JBeam, which I introduced mainly for reporting stuff. You can use it for a second. You can have calculations, a lot of different calculations for your data to validate your data before you upload it into the data management solution. These Madam systems set you into the position to validate your data before. Let's say you want to check always if some channels are hitting a special threshold. Then you're getting, before the uploading, if you use this template for it, for the validation, you get a warning before you upload your data. And then you can take care about it. Think about, you are on a test track. You're doing a 1 hour special performance test. Afterwards, you're going back to the pit, not pit, to your base, and just validate your data directly. Not after the 1 week of testing, going back into the department and then see, oh my God, 50% of the tests are not okay. We have a problem. We have to redo the test. No, just do it over there, directly on site. For this, you can have this MADAM system also on a single laptop. No problem. You can do the data validation directly there. And then you directly see after 1 hour, okay, I have to redo that test and not to do it next week. No problem. This makes it interesting. Analysis and reporting, I think I talked a lot about. Access management is also very important. You want to have the right people on the system. You want to have that some departments have access to this and some departments have access to that data. No problem. It is all included. It is a full-blown rights and role concept, which can connect to the most of the company existing rights and role management system like LDAP, for example. So it's just connected and you log in there with your standard login. And and you can change it. And it is very detailed. That means you can have it on a very high level. Let's say, okay, this kind of data is for that department, this kind of data is for that department, no problem. But you can also, if you have special files on uploading, for example, you can define, okay, only this and that guy has to connect to this data because it is very special, for example. No problem. Everything very simple to do. Collaboration, as I said, that maybe a new department is coming in and they have to need access to data from another department. They don't have to ask the department, okay, where can I find all your data? Where is it stored? Can you give me access on your SharePoint or whatever? They just get the roles and rights, and then they can search within that system to find the right data they have to work with. I mentioned the scheduling, like having automatically reports every day, every week, by night. Automatic importing of data can be also done by the scheduling. Let's say all your suppliers were doing test drives for you, for example, loading up the data to one special folder in your company. Then you can define in the MADAM system, okay, every night at 12 o'clock, I want to have fetched all the new data into the data management system, that on the next morning you can directly search for it or you're getting a report about it, all that stuff. And last but not least, the searching algorithms are very simple, very intuitive. It's like you use, for example, Google or any other search engines. So that's it. I think I am a little bit in front of the time. Maybe I will give back to Enrico and Valentina for some question and answers.
Thank you very much, Sebastian. Okay, we wait for some Q&A from our attendees. You can write in the Q&A box on the bottom, on the right side of your screen, in case you have any questions regarding the topic of today's webinar. Okay, I don't see any questions. I would like to thank you again for participating to our webinar. In case you would like to send us some questions, please write to enrico.ferrentino@kistler.com or valentina.zucchelli@kistler.com, and we will answer you as soon as possible. Please subscribe to our newsletter for more invitation to our webinars. Thank you and have a nice day.
Thank you.